Water is usually good for you, but in this case, you better watch out. From flesh-eating bacteria to radioactive streams, here are 8 places where you definitely shouldn't swim. Number 8. The Berkeley Pit. If you're in Butte, Montana and have $2 to spend, then you might want to consider visiting Berkeley Pit. It is one of the only places in the world where you can pay to see toxic waste. It's pretty easy, just pay the $2 admission fee and enter the viewing platform. The Berkeley Pit is a former open pit copper mine that is filled with highly acidic water. There are metals and toxic chemicals that seep out of the rocks, including copper, iron, arsenic, cadmium, zinc, and sulfuric acid. Of course, you don't need me to tell you what would happen if you went for a swim there. The pit was closed in 1982, the groundwater slowly filled the pit, and now it is a serious environmental problem. In 1995, a flock of geese landed in the water and over 342 dead geese were recovered. But the place is not really lifeless. New fungal and bacterial species have been found to have adapted to the extremely harsh conditions inside the pit. An even more interesting discovery was that these species developed a better production of highly toxic compounds to improve their chances for survival. Some of these might be useful against cancer. However, there are other things about the Berkeley Pit the state of Montana should be concerned about. The water level in the pit is constantly rising. This is a very big problem because if the water level reaches the critical point, it will contaminate the nearby groundwater of the entire Butte Valley, which is home to more than 30,000 people. A water treatment plant was built in 2003 to help avoid this catastrophe, and hopefully this year, 2018, the facility will be able to treat and divert the deadly water. Number 7. The Drake Passage. Back in the day, if you wanted to travel from the west coast of America to the east coast, you had to travel south and pass through what is known as the Drake Passage. This is where the Atlantic, Pacific, and Southern Seas converge, and it is the fastest way to get to Antarctica. The Drake Passage is almost 1,000 kilometers wide, and the current creates some extremely choppy water. Combine that with unpredictable weather, and you can either have the smoothest water ever or an extremely violent journey. Aside from the harsh weather, the Drake Passage is also known for its cold and deep waters. The waters are actually among the coldest on Earth, and its average depth is of about 11,000 feet. Extremely large cargo ships that cannot go through the Panama Canal are forced to go the long way around the Americas and go through the Drake Passage. Before the Panama Canal, the safest, most trafficked route to reach LA or San Francisco from New York was to go down to Cape Horn and around the West Coast. It would take about 90 days. There are many cruises that you can take to Antarctica, and despite the rough crossing, many people say it's worth it for the spectacular landscape and wildlife that you can see, including dolphins, whales, and many kinds of birds. The Drake Passage is apparently quite the adventure. Just make sure to take your motion sickness pill, and whatever you do, don't fall into the water. Number 6. The Saco River. Saco River is a popular recreational river, and many people come here to visit every year hoping to cool off and have some fun. Located between New Hampshire and Maine, it is 220 kilometers long. It passes through several counties and towns before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean at Saco Bay. You can camp near the river, rent a canoe, go tubing, or simply enjoy its beauty along the shore. It really sounds like a very nice place to spend your free time, if you ask the right person, that is. There is a reason Saco River is on the list, after all. There is a local legend that the river is cursed. The story goes that in 1675, 3 drunken English sailors encountered a woman from the Sokokees tribe with her child. They made a bet about a European myth that stated that an Indian baby can swim upon birth as animals do. They attacked the woman, took her child, and threw it in the lake where it drowned. The woman's husband, Squandro, the chief of the Sokokees tribe, cursed the river to claim 3 lives every year until all white men fled its banks. While there are no complete statistics on deaths occurring at Saco River, locals say that the legend is indeed true, and 3 or more white lives are lost there every year. Spooky. Number 5. The Amazon Basin. There is a lot to be said about the Amazon Basin. With so much water plunging down from the Andes into the lush canyons of the Amazon, you will certainly find some of the best whitewater rivers in the world, perfect for going whitewater rafting. Or if that's not your cup of tea, maybe you would rather take a canoe ride or take a rainforest canopy tour. One thing you shouldn't do is probably go swimming in the Amazon Basin. Most of it is filled with rough waters and dangerous creatures ranging from toxic bacteria to black caimans. There are also plenty of piranhas which will bite if they see shiny jewelry or if you have any sort of cut. Scavenger and parasitic catfish are even more dangerous. The blue whale catfish is one of the scariest fish that can bite you because they have razor-sharp teeth that can tear out a chunk of your flesh in a moment. Parasitic fish like the penis fish can come after, and they can only move in one direction because of its needle-like spines. If one ends up in a human, the only solution is surgery. Usually they get inside humans when they are urinating in the water, so yeah, don't do this. You can also get zapped by electric eels that hang out by the riverbank, which can cause excruciating pain and swelling. Flesh-eating bacteria can be found in the sediment of warm standing water almost anywhere in the world. The bacteria can get into your body through your nose and spread. If not treated quickly, the bacteria will start to consume your tissue and you can lose limbs. Did I already mention the large whirlpools that will pop out of nowhere and swallow entire boats? A tour group let 12 people into the water with life preservers and 11 came back. Swim in the Amazon, but just remember, you might not make it back. Number 4. Cape Tribulation, Australia. This place earned its name in 1770 when British Lieutenant James Cook's ship sunk. He named it Cape Tribulation because here begun all our troubles. Not a good sign. Nowadays, here you can find a small number of bed and breakfast lodges, tourism resorts and backpacker hostels, some very rare plants, beautiful beach landscapes, and a list of dangerous creatures that would be more than happy to take a bite out of a swimmer. Of course, it's Australia! If you still think the beautiful beaches are as safe as they look, let's review some of the dangers one might encounter at Cape Tribulation. The most common thing that a swimmer might encounter is jellyfish. Between November and May, this place is full of them, so pack your wetsuit. Even then, if you think you'll be okay, you're wrong. Stinger suits are just a tasty bonus for crocodiles. Just kidding, they'll take a bite out of you with or without it. Even away from the water, you can have quite an unpleasant time if you're not careful. There are lots of places to go hiking, but beware of the stinging trees that are all over the place. This tree has heart-shaped leaves with very fine hairs on the leaves. Red berries hang from the trunk, but be careful. If you're tempted to grab one and you somehow touch the leaves, you will receive a very painful sting, which will most likely last for a long time. Number 3. Laguna Caliente. The Poás volcano in Costa Rica is active almost continuously, and the main crater is home to one of the most acidic lakes in the world, Laguna Caliente. In April 2017, visitors had to be evacuated because of the increase in gases coming out of the volcano. Tourists at the national park were complaining about eye and throat irritation as they were leaving. This volcano has erupted 40 times since 1828. Laguna Caliente, which means hot lagoon, is located at a height of over 2,000 meters in a crater 1.7 kilometers wide and 300 meters deep. Due to the high acidity, no aquatic life has been found in it. A fun fact about Laguna Caliente is that it changes colors every once in a while. Another interesting thing about this lake is that it often experiences eruptions caused by the magma reaching the water. When this happens, because of the extreme heat, the water and acid turn into explosive steam. These giant geysers can reach up to hundreds of meters high. Many guidebooks might claim that Laguna Caliente is a geyser, but technically it's not. The lush tropical forest around the volcano suddenly disappears because of the acid fog and rain caused by Laguna Caliente and other fumaroles. So be careful. Number 2. Jacob's Well. Jacob's Well is a popular natural swimming spot in Texas. It looks very cool and refreshing at first glance, especially since Texas can get hot as hell. It's extremely tempting to get your diving equipment and just jump right in, but it is also a never-ending black hole that has lured divers to their deaths. People consider it one of the most dangerous diving spots in the world. Those with more adventurous spirits love to leap from a nearby outcropping into the well to get away from the heat. You might think you're ready to go in, but most likely, you probably aren't. This blue hole has a diameter of about 4 meters and it descends vertically for about 9. At that point, there are a series of small openings that can lead you into underwater caves that can go down 30 meters or more. In 2007, trained cave divers started exploring the well. To date, they have documented 1,828 meters of passages. What makes Jacob's Well so dangerous is that inexperienced divers love to explore the narrow cave system, which can end in some close calls. Not everyone who makes it to the caves located at the bottom of the well will make it back to the surface. There are 8 recorded fatalities between 1964 and 1984, but researchers guess there have been many more before that. Just don't dive and you should be okay. Number 1. Lake Karachay. Between 1945 and 1948, the Soviet Union decided to build their own plutonium factory in the Ural Mountains. Mayak was the largest nuclear facility in Russia, and it was kept secret until 1990. But being the largest doesn't mean being the best, clearly. Actually, the secret nuclear complex was concerned with everything but safety. There were many leaks, meltdowns, and tons of waste was dumped into the river. Lake Karachay is considered the most polluted place on the planet. In 1990, standing on the shore for an hour could kill you. Now it's supposedly better, but I don't think you should risk it. The nearby villages who used water from the river fell ill with radiation sickness, but doctors weren't allowed to talk about it because the entire operation was a secret. Lake Karachay is now full of concrete to keep the radioactive soil away from the shore, but the riverbanks will be toxic for hundreds of years. Now, you might not die, but still, is it really worth it? Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!